Welcome back to Hardware Unboxed for more Computex coverage, and once again, I'm back at the MSI booth, but this time, something a bit different. I'm checking out some awesome new looking gaming laptops they have on display, so let's get into it. Before we check the laptops out, a big thanks to MSI for bringing me here this year. I wouldn't be here without them. If you're in the market for a new gaming desktop PC, then check out MSI's high-end Core i7 systems. Also, right now they are offering a free Uplay game key for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands with select purchases. It's also possible to score yourself a Wildlands game code with select MSI motherboards as well, so check out their X99, Z270 and H270 range. Link is in the video description. Alright, MSI had plenty of new gaming laptops on display at Computex 2017. The biggest, baddest, and well, beefiest of them all was the MSI GT75 VR Titan. Bit of a mouthful, but the laptop's even bigger than the name lets on. This new high-end gaming laptop can be configured in one of three ways. It's possible to install a single GTX 1080 graphics card, and this is probably the way I'd go if I had a choice, but you can go with a single GTX 1070 or perhaps even two 1070 cards in SLI. So that would probably be the most powerful option for laptops, or rather games that support SLI, the pair of 1070s that is. Helping to unleash all that GPU power is the Intel Core i7-7820HK processor, and that's one of the more powerful Kaby Lake H CPUs available right now. In fact, I think it's the second most powerful processor. The GT75 VR Titan also sports a really slick looking mechanical keyboard with customizable per key RGB lighting. So that's pretty special. Not many keyboards that do have RGB lighting allow you to change individual keys. The keyboard is the first mechanical type to be designed specifically for a gaming laptop, so that's also very cool. The MSI GT80 Titan, for example, the previous 18-inch 0.4 monster, did feature a mechanical keyboard, but that was essentially a desktop keyboard just crammed into a laptop. The new Titan, however, is considerably more portable thanks to a 17-inch footprint and that low-profile tactile keyboard. The keyboard was designed by SteelSeries, and MSI has been doing a lot with SteelSeries with their recent laptops. And I have to say, despite the low-profile design, the tactile feedback is excellent. Complementing the new keyboard is a really nice palm rest that has a cool looking diamond shaped cutout around the offset arrow keys. The material here is much softer than the hard plastic or brushed aluminium that most laptops tend to use. It definitely improves comfort, and I'm sure for longer gaming sessions where you are using the keyboard, that will really help a lot. And I think it really just helps gamers take advantage of that mechanical keyboard. MSI tells me that there will be multiple 17.3-inch screen options for the Titan. The base model is a 1080p TN panel, but before you cringe at the fact that it is a TN panel, it does support a 120Hz refresh rate, and MSI are claiming HDR-like colors. I have to say, on the showroom floor with all the lights and glare and whatever else, the colors still did look very vibrant for a TN panel. But of course, we won't really know how good the panel is until Tim gets his hands on it for some real testing. Still, if you go for the GTX 1080 option, or even the dual 1070s for that matter, then perhaps the optional 4K panel will be the way to go. It also offers 100% Adobe RGB coverage, so it should look very nice. That said though, if you do prefer 1080p gaming, MSI says they will be offering an IPS version as well, though no real details were given at this point. The Titan is designed to be a full-on desktop replacement with space for up to 64GB of DDR4 memory, so I guess you could make it a gaming/serious workstation laptop as well, and it also supports not one but two NVMe M.2 SSDs. Everything mentioned so far has been very impressive, but what really caught my attention is the stuff inside. And I don't mean the GTX 1080 and the Core i7 or GTX 1070 or whatever. I mean, that stuff's all very cool, but it's the stuff keeping it cool that I was particularly interested in. Thankfully, MSI did have on display their various cooling options for the laptop, so you got a good idea of what the cooling layout was and the fans and the heat pipes and all that stuff. So that was very cool of them. So inside the Titan, for example, they do have the new Cooler Boost 5 Titan technology, and they say this allows the CPU within the laptop to overclock to 4GHz and stay there without throttling, so that's pretty amazing. The cooling system essentially combines two Whirlwind blade fans with 12 heat pipes and 4 ventilation points. So again, very cool stuff, But I guess what you guys want to know is the price, and unfortunately, as you might have guessed, MSI aren't releasing that information at this point for any of the various configurations, but you can bet they're not going to be cheap. Another new laptop series that caught my attention were the GE63 VR and GE73 VR Raiders. Unlike the Titan, the Raider models are designed to be cost effective, or at least more cost effective. They shouldn't completely obliterate your bank account anyway. The Raider looks very sleek, but it still packs some serious hardware inside. They're also packing the world's first 3 millisecond 120Hz display, which doesn't just promise super fast response times, but also a wider color gamut along with HDR compatibility. And this means you'll see a broader range of colors with a better overall contrast. Inside the Raider models, there's more Cooler Boost 5 technology, and this time we find dual fans, 7 heat pipes, and 4 ventilation points. I know you guys are going to want to know things like what temperatures do they run at and how loud are they and all that stuff, and honestly on the showroom floor, I can't really get that information. You'll have to wait for the reviews. But MSI does assure me that the operating temperatures are very good, and so too is the operating volume. But again, we'll have to wait for Tim to get his hands on that before we have any concrete information. Something else we don't know yet is which CPU is powering the Raider line. I would assume a lower end Core i7 model is probably in there. There might be an option for a Core i5, but I'd say the focus will be on the Core i7 because the GPU has been significantly upgraded. They now come standard with an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070, and that's a massive upgrade over the previous GE62 and GE72s, which used the GTX 1050. This is really impressive stuff because despite the massive upgrade in GPU power, these new Raiders are even slimmer than the previous models. As I mentioned earlier, these are very sleek looking laptops, and MSI says their design cues have been taken from sports cars. So, as Kev would say, that's interesting. These models also feature more SteelSeries action. Here we again have per key RGB lighting, so that's very cool, and that's for both the GE63 VR and GE73 VR. Something that I am yet to touch on, but is very cool, are the speakers. The laptops feature the appropriately named giant speakers, which are said to be 2 to 3 times larger than other speakers in similarly priced gaming laptops. A key to enabling this larger volume isn't just the size of the actual speaker, but also the chamber. MSI says the chamber is now 5 times the size, and this results in, as I said, a much larger volume, but also better audio quality overall and sound detail. I have to say, even on the loud showroom floor, it was very easy to hear the gaming laptops. They had them playing a few games or videos, and they were incredibly loud. So far, the only difference that I'm aware of between the GE63 VR and GE73 VR is the 15-inch and 17-inch displays, the GE73 VR being the larger of the two, of course. Again, pricing information wasn't announced, so you'll have to wait for Tim's official reviews to get those details. Anyway, that's going to do it for the MSI laptop coverage. Hope you guys enjoyed checking out the new laptops. I'm pretty excited to see Tim get a couple of them and check them out, see if they're as good as they look on the showroom floor. I'm your host, Steve. See you again soon, guys.